Wrestling Observer Live, Saturday. It's Jim Valley. Back again, 1-800-878-PLAY, 1-800-878-7529. We're live 7 days a week, Monday through Friday, 3 Eastern, 2 Pacific. Saturdays, 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. And Brian will be back tomorrow, Sunday, 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific. And I believe with Mike as well. And I know yesterday we had some phone problems with Mike, but I think we worked it out. We got him an upgrade to a Razor phone. Should be no problem. Yeah, we got rid of the old bag phone, so check out Brian. He'll be back tomorrow. Talk about the Jericho Cruise and Royal Rumble and everything here on Wrestling Observer Live. Jim Valley, NWA Hard Times PPV. Seems like it was a pretty good show last night. You know, yesterday on the show I did say that I love the episodic nature of NWA Power, but you know, none of those matches beforehand were really all that compelling to me. But looking at Twitter, the fans who saw the show raved about it, and even the matches, which is awesome. You do need that component in wrestling today. And you know, ever since WCW went out of business, we've seen so many startup wrestling companies, and so often you're like, why? It's like they offer nothing new or interesting, and I like what Billy Corgan is doing. It's a nice show. The veterans seem to have a purpose and a new life, and the young talent has a lot of potential. Especially, it's got to be hard to find young talent with, you know, WWE having so many people under contract. That can't be easy. And the thing I probably honestly love the best about Billy Corgan, his business strategy does not include saturating the market. It's 1 hour, an easy watch. I find it refreshing. Please never change. Tonight, Worlds Collide, where the stars of NXT go head-to-head with Walter and, I don't know. We've also got the Royal Rumble and Seth Rollins. He's done it again. Hashtag because of the fans. Jim Valley, Wrestling Observer Live, Sports Byline Broadcasting Network. Wrestling Observer Live on Saturdays. Jim Valley back again, and Brian will be back tomorrow. Sunday, Wrestling Observer Live, 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 Pacific here on Sports Byline. Well, it's one of the best weekends of the year for wrestling fans, Royal Rumble. And last night, we even got a bonus. The NWA Hard Times PPV looks like a pretty good show. I'm running down a couple of the quick results here. Ricky Starks won the NWA TV title tournament. Thunder Rosa won the women's title. And Eli Drake and Mr. Anderson won the NWA tag team titles. Yep, the Rock and Roll Express no longer NWA champions, which you know, it's probably fine. They probably just left and worked like 3 other matches that night, and probably had an autograph signing this morning. They got a double shot, probably a grand opening of a car wash. Those guys are machines. I think they're also wrestling for New Japan on this U.S. tour as well. Ricky Morton is incredible. We'll have to spend some time on him one of these days real soon. It's just remarkable to be in his 60s and doing what he's doing, and had the life, so many ups, so many downs, and he's stuck it out, and you love that. It's seriously, I know that it's, you know, it's funny to talk about the mullet and stuff sometimes, but I do have a lot of respect for them and what they're doing right now. Also last night, they announced that the Crockett Cup is returning, and so much stuff happened in 2019. It's easy to forget, but the Crockett Cup was kind of a highlight of the year. So they're saying it's going to run a bigger building, and hopefully it'll be cool. I mean, like I said, I did not know what to expect with NWA and NWA Power, but they have a vision, and they're executing it. I like it. I'm happy to have them as part of the wrestling marketplace. Smackdown last night. I joked about it yesterday. They did the contract signing, but in red. I have a new theory. You know that guy we've talked about who sits in the back of the writers' meetings and once a month says, because of the fans? I think he's doubled his productivity. He also now says, but have we tried it in red? That guy's got it figured out. He's got job security. Some people tweeted me about Miz and Morrison's promo last night. Yes, they did talk about they turned because of the fans, but it was basically just a follow-up, a rehash of when they did it a couple of weeks ago. And we already talked about that, so it does not count. It's not new. But had they done it in red, completely different. Worlds Collide tonight. Royal Rumble weekend, one of the biggest weekends, and there is so little buzz for Worlds Collide. I mean, seriously, tickets have been soft. I know nothing lasts forever. and it was going to end at some point. But look, there is no doubt in my mind that WWE did play a role in really killing the excitement that was around just a couple of years ago in the UK wrestling scene. And that is something to keep in mind. Seriously, and I'm not criticizing or asking for regulations. The power is in your hands. But understand that sometimes WWE has got different interests that we do as fans. And it's up to us to spend money on other products to keep things viable and healthy. And again, I'm not criticizing, I'm just saying, understand that as a consumer. WWE is $1 billion business, and we also need to protect our own interests. And maybe someday it'll all come back. And again, I'm not putting the entire blame on WWE. Every wave crashes at some point, but it's kind of sad to think just a couple of years ago how exciting and vibrant the scene was, and it's just not the same. I picture poor Piper Niven over there, all alone by herself. Oh, well, maybe things will come back again someday, but it'll be a good show, I'm sure, but no real buzz for that. Men's Royal Rumble, they've got a ton of guys announced. Brock Lesnar, of course, Roman Reigns, AJ Styles, Randy Orton, Rey Mysterio, Ricochet, Eric Rowan, Drew McIntyre, Baron Corbin, Dolph Ziggler, Elias, Otis, Tucker, Rusev, Bobby Lashley, Aleister Black, Buddy Murphy, Braun Strowman, Nakamura, Seth Rollins, Kevin Owens, Samoa Joe, Kofi Kingston, Big E, John Morrison, and The Miz. Betting sites have Roman Reigns apparently the favorite right now. Probably. The way I see it, I kind of see that the Royal Rumble seems to be focused on Raw. And to me, it looks like I could see Roman Reigns winning the Elimination Chamber and facing The Fiend. I'm sure Bryan is going to lose tonight in some strap match weird thing, but I could be wrong on that. A lot of people expecting a big name like Edge or John Cena, maybe Undertaker, Cain Velasquez to eliminate Brock Lesnar to set up WrestleMania, and that could certainly happen. I would also anticipate maybe with Kofi Kingston this year that he and Morrison do something like dueling athletic parkour spots, or Kofi does something incredible only to have Miz and Morrison ruin it this year, something like that. Women's Royal Rumble, they've got like less than 10 names announced for some reason. Charlotte Flair, Alexa Bliss, Nikki Cross, Sarah Logan, Natalya, Carmella, and Dana Brooke. No idea why they have not announced more names. I would anticipate they would have to have a few NXT competitors in that match. I don't know. I don't even know why Lacey Evans didn't announce last night. And she had quite the interview. Every time Lacey Evans comes out and she does that salute, I picture Vince McMahon demonstrating it to her and how he wants it done the first time in rehearsal. Can you see that? Yeah, totally. So some people have taken me to task about Lacey Evans. A couple of weeks ago, I talked about I think she's going to be a top star and to pay attention to her. And a lot of people tweeted at me and online saying, her ring work is just not up to snuff to being a top act. And you know something? Neither was Ultimate Warrior. The top wrestler doesn't necessarily have to be the best wrestler or even have the best matches. And here's the thing. That's not wrestling. Wrestling is working together and making your opponent look as good as possible. And WWE has got so many talented performers under contract that she can be helped in the ring. That match with Bayley last week, Bayley was a star for Lacey Evans. She sold that punch like she was hit by a train. And there are no guarantees. WWE is synonymous for start and stop pushes, and Lacey Evans could cough at the wrong time and it's all over. But right now, I think she is on her way to be, at the very least, the top female star in the company, and maybe even the top star. Watch the pushes and what's happening right now with Lacey Evans and Keith Lee. Same thing with Keith Lee. When someone gets that first push, usually they get like one new thing, like a new catchphrase or a slightly new look or one thing. Keith Lee has got the whole package. They've given him the catchphrase and the way he walks to the ring and everything he does now. He's on his way. I see a future WWE champion in Keith Lee. I don't know if it's going to happen this weekend at the Royal Rumble, but Unless something happens, those people have got the rocket right now. And you don't have to like it. You don't have to agree with me. But pay attention, because it's fascinating. I picked Sasha to win the Rumble, but I figured maybe like a three-way. Sasha, Bayley, and Lacey Evans. But, if there's an injury angle, I don't know. Does Lacey win the whole thing? Not sure. Obviously, there's going to be some big star that's going to fight the man, Becky Lynch at WrestleMania, Ronda Rousey or somebody. They're not just going to give anybody the match with the top star in the company. It's going to have to be a big celebrity or something major for Becky Lynch. At least that's what I would imagine. She could win or lose tonight. It really doesn't matter. She's bigger than the title. I would imagine she'll have the title at WrestleMania, but there'll be something big for Becky Lynch. There's no doubt. And I keep coming back to that interview with Lacey Evans last night. And it was so sincere, talking about her family and her dad and her background and the tears. We haven't seen tears like that in WWE in forever. I mean, Seth Rollins cries a lot, but that's a completely different kind of crying. And also, Seth doesn't do it on television. He does it in public for some reason. There's a new interview that Seth Rollins has done in the newspaper in San Antonio.
Come on.
And he's so angry at the people that want to beat him and tear him down. Not Kevin Owens or Samoa Joe.
Come on.
You. We'll talk about that coming up next. Yes, hashtag because of the fans. Jim Valley, Wrestling Observer Live, Sports Byline Broadcasting Network. Jim Valley, Wrestling Observer Live. You can tweet me at Jim Valley. We are here each and every Saturday. And Wrestling Observer Live is here 7 days a week. And Brian and Mike will be back tomorrow. Sunday, 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific. Also Monday through Friday, 3 Eastern, noon Pacific. Saturdays, 1 p.m. Eastern and 10 a.m. Pacific. By the way, if you're a subscriber to The Observer, Dave has talked about on the audio shows that he will be sending out information about voting for the year-end awards. So he has not forgotten about that. He's just been very, very busy. So that's coming up. Don't worry about that. Question. In one sentence or less, what is the job of a professional wrestler? Boil it down to its very essence. Is it having exciting matches? Cutting great promos? Taking care of your opponent's body in the ring? Is it the acting and poise to carry a TV segment? No. If you are a professional wrestler, your job is to generate revenue for the company. That's it. Whether you're nobody selling tickets in your early matches to friends and family to get them to come, or you're Chris Jericho, who at 50 years old had the #1 store on Pro Wrestling Tees in 2019. He said it during his press conference in Japan. He's a businessman who has performed at an incredibly high level for almost 30 years. Chris Jericho gets it. Chris Jericho makes money. And if you are a professional wrestler, you need to compel total strangers to buy tickets or pay-per-views or network subscriptions to see you win or to see the hero give you what you have got coming to you. And with so many revenue streams, fans can buy your t-shirts, action figures, toothbrushes, or even spend thousands of dollars to join you on a cruise. The Young Bucks are on your network TV each and every Wednesday because they figured that out. They didn't complain. They didn't have a platform or a machine. They built it themselves. And before I go any further, let me clarify something. Colby Lopez is probably a really nice guy. He was a kid who dreamed of becoming a professional wrestler, and he is living that dream. And if you would have asked me 10 years ago, I would never have predicted that Tyler Black would be having the career that he's having right now, and I respect that. But this is about Seth Rollins. And I don't know if these are real feelings or a company line. He's doing an Andy Kaufman thing or trying to curry favor by repeating the conventional wisdom backstage. It ain't personal. It's business. But business is terrible. For the first time ever in the history of the WWE, house shows are running at a loss. That means WWE does not make money touring. Quite simply, not enough fans are buying tickets to see live events. WWE is spending more on those live events than it brings in. That is unprecedented. This is a business for over 100 years, predicated on selling tickets. And today, WWE cannot sell tickets. And, things are different. If you're a longtime fan, you may remember the WWF would cut promos on TV. That little plastic plane would fly by, and Howard Finkel would list the cities where WWE was on tour. Wrestlers would spend hours after the matches cutting localized promos, talking about their feuds in each city. And, today we don't even get that. Maybe if WWE comes to your town during Smackdown or Raw, you might see like a quick video. No card lineup, just an array of stars who may or may not be there. The way people get it out now is social media, the website, and interviews in local media. But the idea is still the same. You talk fans into the building. Babyfaces appeal to fans to support them in his or her fight against evil. And I get it. Seth Rollins cannot do that right now. He's a heel. He's the Monday Night Messiah. Apparently he's a cult leader? Well, if he's a cult leader, then that means he reads people. He deciphers their needs and tells them exactly what they want to hear so he can manipulate them for his own selfish purposes. WWE is coming to San Antonio on this tour, and Seth Rollins did an interview with a local paper there promoting the show. I mean, think about this. This is free advertising. Free advertising to reach fans to compel them to spend money. What does the Monday Night Messiah, that master manipulator, say to get fans in San Antonio to come to the matches? Our audience looks for things to complain about, to dislike, and pick apart. Now compare that to Chris Jericho and Tanahashi. They didn't blame fans who were more interested in Naito holding 2 belts at the end of Wrestle Kingdom. No. They reached for the handle of the forbidden door, and they knew it was never going to open, but the fans didn't. And people were talking about that, maybe more than any other match, because Tanahashi and Chris Jericho are professionals. Seth Rollins is not even trying to find a door. He's too busy yelling at fans to get out of his damn yard. Matches are important, and Seth Rollins has had some excellent matches. But the biggest stars in the history of wrestling are known for promos. They talked fans into buildings. And think about this, just as a comparison. What if we put Seth Rollins into some of those iconic moments? King of the Ring. 1996, out of nowhere, Seth Rollins wins the tournament and yells to Jake Roberts, Rollins 316 says, I just blamed your ass. January 1984, Seth Rollins defeats the Iron Sheik for the WWF title and blames the fans that they didn't support him enough, and forever known as the birth of Sulkamania. The Attitude Era. Seth is the leader of DX. We've got 2 words for you. Like me. But the best will be in San Antonio. Seth Rollins, the dwindling people's champion, walks down the ring and says, finally, Seth Rollins has come back to fewer paying customers. You see the difference? At the same time, AEW, right now, has sold 10,000 tickets for its March 25th debut at the Prudential Building in New Jersey. Seth Rollins has got to be so confused. He's sitting there going, what insults did AEW use to get those stupid fans to buy so many tickets? Probably frantically searching Urban Dictionary for new terrible words and phrases. I keep going back to that quote. Our audience looks for things to complain about, to dislike, and pick apart. Why does he do this? Is he saying what his boss says in private? Why? I would imagine he's going to be WWE for life. He can retire. WWE will send him out to schools to talk to students about his anti-bullying campaign. Hey, stupid, be a star. It wasn't always like this. I've been watching wrestling a long time, and I remember when fans were actually excited to see Seth Rollins. The year was 2014. Katniss Everdeen made our hearts swoon as she killed people for sport. We were all shaking it off with Taylor, a little creeped out by the lyrics Blank Space. And that same year, WWE launched the WWE Network. No longer when I have to drive to dirty video stores with slightly damp carpet to rent wrestling videos, I could stream it all from my home. All for just... I don't even remember the price. Did they even say it on television? Well, look, that price, whatever it was we got to see WrestleMania 31, when a plucky Seth Rollins cashed in that Money in the Bank briefcase, and everyone was so happy. The WWE Universe exploded with joy because he kept it out of the hands of Roman Reigns. You know, that guy who always smiled and said nice things about us. Jerk. 2014 was a long time ago, and that Seth Rollins is gone. And his love affair with the fans has turned bitter. And apparently, we fans are so terrible and so awful. We're the worst. And you know what? You know what the hardest job in the world is? It's not ditch digging. It's not being a teacher in an overcrowded classroom. It's being a professional wrestling babyface. In that same interview, Seth Rollins says, you know, it's such a short lifespan. If you could maintain being in that hero role for a lengthy period of time, you're doing something incredible. We are so dislikable, and they despise us and resent us so much. It's hard to be nice to us and be a babyface for an extended period of time. We are the worst fans in the world. But you know what? I see Seth's point. We'll talk about just how incredible it is and how nobody else can do it. Coming up next, hashtag because of the fans. Jim Valley, Wrestling Observer Live, Sports Byline Broadcasting Network. Apparently, the other fact of life is that we wrestling fans are terrible. Nobody hates wrestling more than wrestling fans. Look how mean we are to AEW and Billy Corgan. Why do people even try to entertain us? We suck! And we're so terrible that being a babyface is the hardest job in the world. Seth Rollins, in that same interview, not only does he say that we the fans ruin everything, it's a Herculean task just to treat us like people. An exact quote from San Antonio. You know, it's such a short lifespan. If you can maintain being that hero role for a lengthy period of time, you are doing something incredible. You know, I can see his point of view these days. I mean, all of his colleagues turn every few months, and really, how many wrestlers have been career baby faces or fan favorites the vast majority of their career? I mean, everybody always mentions Rick Steamboat, and he's probably the only one, right? And, you know, he's awesome, a legend, great wrestler, but, you know, he held the Intercontinental title brief run, the world title for a brief run. He's not, like, significant. You know, I can't imagine, like, someone holding a major world title. You know, you couldn't start your own company being a career babyface and be a gigantic figure in the world of... Vern Gagne did that. Yeah, that's right, Vern Gagne. Okay, but look, you know, he was like a legitimate wrestler. You couldn't be like Vern Gagne without that. I mean, that helped him a lot. You couldn't be, like, tough and get people excited, sometimes make them laugh and clap and... Oh, wait, Hacksaw Jim Duggan. Yeah, Hacksaw Jim Duggan did that. Oh, and by the way, for the purposes of this, short-term Vince Russo turns that did not take, they don't count. But, you know, that was all a long time ago with those guys. No one in WWE today. I mean, could you imagine someone actually coming out and saying that they wanted to be a hero to the kids in WWE? That person wouldn't be a Universal Champion or fight Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. Oh, right, Bill Goldberg did that. Why didn't Seth Rollins mention Bill Goldberg in his interview? You know, sometimes at work you're busy with other things. You don't always have time to know what your colleagues are doing. I'm going to give Seth Rollins the benefit of the doubt right there. But I mean, still, he grew up watching wrestling. You would wonder, didn't like his favorite wrestler as a kid? Now, his favorite wrestler as a kid probably wasn't always a career baby. Wait, Seth Rollins' favorite wrestler as a kid was Sting. When I was a kid, I had a bunch of favorite wrestlers, so who knows what that really means. It's not like he dressed up as Sting for Halloween. Oh, wait. Yeah, Seth Rollins did dress up as Sting for Halloween. Still, that was a long time ago. I don't remember all of my Halloween costumes, and also Sting was WCW. That doesn't count. Only WWE counts. There's no equivalent of Sting in the history of WWE, and if there was, you know, he's forgotten. They don't talk about him every year at the Hall of Fame like the Ultimate Warrior. Okay, look, with the exception of Rick Steamboat, Vern Gagne, Hacksaw Jim Duggan, Bill Goldberg, Sting, and the Ultimate Warrior, Seth Rollins is right. And also, Look at that. All white people. That's just some white people stuff there. There's no, like, wrestlers of color. Oh, wait, Tito Santana. Great Intercontinental Champion. Okay, The Rock's dad, Rocky Johnson. And JYD. But look, this is just an American phenomenon. This would never work anywhere else in the world of wrestling. This is not transferable. You couldn't be like Johnny Saint in England. Oh, wait, Johnny Saint in England, yeah. It's just an English-speaking thing. This would never work in Japan. You couldn't be like a big star like Giant Baba. Oh, wait, yeah, Giant Baba. But he's like the only one. He was, the head of the company. He had to do it. It's not like, oh, wait, Jumbo Tsuruta and Misawa and Manami Toyota. But we're talking women's wrestling and All Japan. This would never work in New Japan Pro Wrestling. You couldn't rebuild a company based on a pure baby. Oh, wait, Tanahashi. Tanahashi is an anomaly. He's really special. He doesn't have like an American equivalent like John Cena. Understand this. With the exception of Rick Steamboat, Vern Gagne, Hacksaw Jim Duggan, Bill Goldberg, Sting, Ultimate Warrior, Tito Santana, Rocky Johnson, JYD, Johnny Saint, Giant Baba, Jumbo Tsuruta, Misawa, Manami Toyota, Tanahashi, and John Cena, Seth Rollins is right. You couldn't do that today. You couldn't compete with WWE being just a pure babyface. You couldn't get on network TV. You couldn't sell tens of thousands of tickets and 100,000 pay-per-view. Oh, right, Cody. And you know what? You know the way Dave bet Cody $1 and they did All In? I bet I could bet Cody $1 and Cody could stay a babyface as long as he wanted. Because like Cody says, Cody does the work. You know something, Seth? Maybe it's you and not us. To quote a famous book on relationships a few years ago, maybe we're just not that into you. And understand this. I'm trying to make a point about wrestling and what works in wrestling. I'm not here to go to war. I'm not here to get attention. I'm nobody. I like my life, and I know it. I don't expect Seth Rollins will ever hear this, but on the off chance that he does, don't tweet at me. And don't give any more interviews about the audience who looks for things to complain about, to dislike, and pick apart. You shouldn't criticize those people. Those terrible, awful fans with no taste are the same ones who made you a millionaire. Last week, Chris Jericho had a ship full of those fans who paid him thousands of dollars just to be there. Spontaneously break out in song and sing Chris Jericho's song Judas while he walked to the ring, and he's the top heel. Right now, at this moment, I don't know that Seth Rollins could get kindergartners to sing Happy Birthday on the last day of school before they celebrate all the summer birthdays. On another level, it is also disrespectful to Kevin Owens and Samoa Joe. They have worked just as hard. Think about all the adversity and all the stuff Samoa Joe has overcome with flying colors in his career, more than Seth Rollins ever has. Talk them up. Don't talk the fans down. Wrestling works when you explain to fans why they need to see these matches. What's in it for us, not you? That's how it works. For over 100 years, professional wrestlers have compelled fans to spend money. And it's happening right now, too. It's not passé. It is not out of style. It's all around. So, quit using your fingers for pointing at everybody else. Be this messiah in real life. Use those fingers and stir up a batch of Kool-Aid. A batch of Kool-Aid that is so amazing and so delicious that people will line up for miles and want to give you their money. You've dreamed of being a wrestler. Now is the time. Now is the time if you want to be among the all-time greats. Now is the time. Be known as the guy who turned around the house show business, who took it out of the red ink and into the black, who increased the network numbers. Be one of those movers. Yeah, you're at the top of the company, but Rock, Hogan, Austin, even John Cena, they moved the needle. They talked people into spending money. Talk people into spending money on Seth Rollins and the WWE. Do your job. And until you do that, the fans aren't going to shut up. Because they're right. You know, you haven't convinced anyone to do anything. You're not the Messiah. You're still the architect. The architect of fan apathy. And the architect of every one of those empty seats. Hashtag because of the fans. It's wrestling. It's supposed to be fun. If you're unhappy, go do something else. You've got the money. You're engaged to a wonderful woman. Can you imagine, instead of Colby, if Seth Rollins proposed to Becky Lynch? You know, half the marriages end in divorce. We're just going to get old and fat and resent each other. You talk funny. You're not that good looking, but here's the ring. Just take it, all right? It's beautiful. It's like one of those jewelry commercials you see on Valentine's Day. No, that's not what he did. Of course he didn't. Why would you think that we want to come see him? Talk about the matches and how Kevin Owens is so great. Yeah, he's great. And he thinks he's going to get his hands on me, and fans are going to love it when that happens, but I'm not going to let that happen. Or these fans think Samoa Joe is so great and he's strong and everything, and I'm going to have my work cut out for me. And you know something? The fans are going to cheer when Samoa Joe finally gives me what I got coming to me. But you know what? I've got things up my sleeve. I've got the AOP and I've got Buddy Murphy. Tell that story. I'll tell you what. I don't know when this pay-per-view is and when this match is going to take place, but the way you talk about the fans all the time, boy, that's going to be a heck of a match. And the way you talk about the fans, you know something, maybe I'm starting to hate them too. Focus on the right things and not the wrong things. What do you think? 1-800-878-PLAY. 1-800-878-7529. Or you can tweet me at Jim Valley. Wrestling is working all around the world. And I get it. Being in the public eye can be hard. Sometimes taking criticism is hard. But it's like, you've got to prove yourself. This is what you got into. You know, you can't just put yourself out there and expect everybody to love you. It's what comes with the territory. It's the way it is. You got to overcome it. How much adversity do you think Ricky Morton has come up in his career? He hasn't been on a main stage and super popular in over 30 years. His gimmick is music that doesn't even get played anymore. And he's had to dress the same way for over 30 years. And he's had to work probably in a lot of empty buildings, a lot of depressing buildings, and make just a couple $100. Did he complain? No. He stuck it out. He shook hands. He glad-handed everybody because Ricky Morton is a professional. And that's one of the reasons why I'm so happy that he is back and getting what he so deserves. Ricky Morton, one time I was in the green room at an event, wasn't even the dressing room. And he came around and shook everybody's hand, even mine. Never met me before, but you know what? You'd never know it. Ricky Morton is a credit to this industry, and you know what? Ricky Morton is what wrestling is all about. Running the towns, making the shows, and being nice to the fans. Ricky Morton is the rock and roll messiah. He's the Ayatollah of rock and roll. And he should be the example for a lot of wrestlers. To get out there and hustle and smile and make the fans feel like they're welcome. Everything is super service right now. That's what it's about, making that real life connection where fans think they know you. Bring them in. Don't push them away. Jim Valley, Wrestling Observer Live, Sports Byline Broadcasting Network. All right, Jim Valley, Wrestling Observer Live. Enough about Seth Rollins, the new king of the empty arena match. Let's look at some tweets here. Someone tweets me, wasn't Sam Houston a babyface his entire career? Look, why do you want to tear me down? Why do you neckbeards want to do that? Look, don't try to pick me apart like that. Jerk trying to help my show. Hate him so much. By the way, on another note, the Jericho Cruise. I did see like other people on Twitter like posting pictures of people, and I didn't see what the big deal is. Apparently, I don't know, some people thought it was funny or comical, or if people want to go on a cruise and hang out and watch wrestling, and if most of the crowd is guys, I mean, girls are known for having girls' weekends and stuff. Why can't guys go on a cruise and just watch some wrestling? And, I don't know if you've ever been on a cruise, but the joke, my wife's in the travel industry, and the joke is that cruises are newlyweds and nearly deads, meaning people on their honeymoons and older couples. That's kind of the cruising industry. Disney opened it up to families, but you're not going to go on a cruise alone and probably find necessarily a lot of people to hook up with. It's not the Love Boat. That's just the way it works, and it's awesome. That would be fun to hang out with all the other fans, talk wrestling and everything. So let's also not try to tear each other down. Seriously, I mean, it's fun to make jokes and laugh at us in a good-natured way, but just posting pictures like that of people who weren't doing anything, it's kind of a jerk move. Be a star. Stupid. Hate you so much. Anyway, follow me at Jim Valley, and I'll be back next Saturday, or who knows whenever. I got some more shows I got to upload for subscribers of Wrestling Observer. Brian and Mike, they're back tomorrow, so they will be here talking about the cruise and everything else. Wrestling Observer Live, Jim Valley, Sports Byline Broadcasting Network.